SARS-CoV-2 जो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है कोविड-19 के लिए, एक आरएनए वायरस है और इसके लिए बहुत नेचुरल है म्यूटेट होना, यानी इसके स्ट्रक्चर में चेंजेस होना। लेकिन अगर वो इसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में चेंजेस में रिजल्ट नहीं करता है तो डरने की कोई बात नहीं, खतरे की कोई भी वहां से सिग्नल नहीं आता है। लेकिन जब बात होती है डेल्टा वेरिएंट की, ये भी एक म्यूटेशन है, लेकिन चेंजेस इतने ज्यादा हैं और इन चेंजेस की वजह से ये बन गया है वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न। आज इसी डेल्टा वेरिएंट के बारे में हम बात करने वाले हैं। हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं डॉक्टर लैंसलट पिंटो एंड ही इज अ कंसल्टेंट एपिडेमोलॉजिस्ट एंड पल्मोनोलॉजिस्ट ऑफ हिंदुजा हॉस्पिटल। वेरी warm welcome, sir. First,
Thank you.
how much do we know about Delta variant? Of course, there's so much being talked about. Definitely, WHO has tagged it as a variant of concern. How much should we be scared from Delta variant?
So whenever we talk about variants, there are three questions that we always need to ask. Number one is transmissibility, number two is virulence, and number three is immune escape. So what is transmissibility? कि एक इंसान से दूसरे इंसान को कितनी आसानी से ये वायरस फैलता है, that's transmissibility. Second is virulence or severity, कि इंसान को जब ये इन्फेक्शन होता है तो कितना बुरा इन्फेक्शन होता है. And the third thing that we talk about is immune escape. Ki will the current vaccinations work on it? Will the antibody cocktails which are available work on it? So when you talk about the Delta variant, it's almost certainly more transmissible than the earlier variants that have been described. In some instances, they talk about it being almost twice as transmissible as the original variants from last year. Which is not surprising. ज्यादातर डॉक्टर्स ने जिन्होंने ट्रीट किया है पेशेंट्स को कोविड के साथ, उन्होंने देखा है कि ये टाइम पूरे परिवार जनरली इन्फेक्ट हो जाते हैं. पिछले साल, it used to be 1% or 2%. Generally, it's the whole family because this is clearly more transmissible from one person to another. The second question is, does it lead to more hospitalizations? Does it lead to more deaths? क्या इससे ज्यादा बुरे किस्म की बीमारी होने का चांस है? And there is some data from the UK which suggests that it does lead to more hospitalizations, but we are not sure whether it leads to more deaths or not. So mortality might be more or less similar to the earlier variants, but it might lead to more hospitalizations and therefore could be an increased burden on the healthcare.
Okay, so there's another study from UK about reinfection. We'll get to that as well. But of course, you explained it beautifully. What is Delta variant and the classification, of course. Why is it a concern? We've covered. But now let's talk about its evidences on transmissibility or fertility. So, of course, आपने बताया कि transmissible तो ज़्यादा है ही, double है. Fertility की जहाँ अगर आप, if you can touch upon that.
So if you look at the UK, for example, I think the latest study showed that 61% of all their strains right now are the Delta variant. So in a very short span of time, it has become the leading variant in the UK as compared to the earlier Kent variant, which was described earlier. So again, showing us that it's very transmissible. Once it enters a population, it spreads very rapidly across that population and becomes the dominant strain. I think the general belief, based on what we know so far, is that it may not lead to more deaths. It may not cause more mortality. The problem is because it's so transmissible, क्योंकि इतने सारे लोग एक टाइम पे इन्फेक्ट हो जाते हैं, तो उनमें से समझो एक छोटा परसेंटेज भी अगर सिवियर डिजीज के साथ मैनिफेस्ट करता है, तो that small percentage converts into a huge number because the denominator, the base is so much. इतने सारे लोग इन्फेक्ट हुए हैं. But if you speak about it as an absolute percentage, I don't think we believe that it leads to more deaths as of now.
Okay, यूके की रिपोर्ट की हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो एक रिपोर्ट है जिसे मैं कोट करना चाहूंगा, which is called Siren, जहां SARS-CoV-2 immunity and reinfection evaluation वो करते हैं. जून 11 को रिसर्चर्स ने कहा कि the number of reinfections among those who had been previously infected or vaccinated was low. This is in context of Delta variant. So how much is it linked to reinfection as per you?
So if you look at the community level data that we have, even in a city like Mumbai, for example, it looks like most of the hotspots, which were hotspots in the first time round, were not hotspots this time. So a majority of transmission occurred in slums the first time round. A majority of transmission this time occurred in high rises, suggesting that maybe reinfections weren't so much of a problem. It was just individuals who hadn't had it the last year had it this time round. There was a study from Calgary which looked, there was a small little outbreak in a place in Calgary which looked at people who had received both doses of the vaccine and still got infected with Delta, but none of them had severe disease, suggesting that even if you have a breakthrough infection, despite receiving both doses of the vaccine, in all probability it will be a mild infection. It will not be a severe infection.
Right. So you're talking about Delta variant here, which is first found in India. It's in technical terms or medical terms, it's called B1617. But now we have another worry, which is B16172, which is Delta plus variant. How much do we know about that, doctor? And how much should we be worried about this one now?
So this variant has one amino acid change, which is called the K417N, which was also seen in a beta variant, in an earlier variant. It's just that it's Delta plus this new amino acid change that we are seeing in the spike protein. What we know so far is that maybe the antibody cocktails don't work on this variant. What we also know is that the incidence right now reported is extremely tiny. So we don't know if it's more transmissible. We don't know if it's more severe. We don't know if we should be really concerned about this or not. What will eventually happen is they will collect plasma from individuals who've had infections with this particular strain. They will test it against the current vaccines which are available. And that will give us more knowledge about whether the current vaccines will neutralize this strain or not. But as of now, there is no reason to panic, or there's no reason to believe that this will cause a big problem in the future.
Okay, now comes the million-dollar question, which is, are currently available vaccines effective against the Delta variant?
So what was found in a study, and this comes from PHE, which is Public Health England, where possibly done the largest study on this, where they found that individuals who had received one dose of the vaccine, the efficacy of the vaccine was about 33%, which used to be roughly 50% for the earlier variants. So the vaccine efficacy after one dose seems to be quite low. If you received 2 doses of the vaccine, the efficacy increased to about 64% or so for the Oxford strain, which used to be about 74% or so with the Alpha variant. But we're talking about symptomatic infection. We're not talking about severe infection. We're not talking about deaths. When they looked at severe infection, they found that with the Oxford vaccine, which is what is Covishield in India, if you received 2 doses, the efficacy was about 92% against hospitalization, and there were 0 deaths among these individuals. So I think the bottom line is 1 dose is probably not good enough. You need more than 1 dose. With 2 doses, the efficacy is lower than what it used to be, but it's still very effective against hospitalization, very effective against deaths. And I think that's what we're really interested in. As long as 2 doses protect individuals from dying or getting hospitalized, I think we have nothing to worry about.
ओके तो ये मेरे सवाल थे, लेकिन कुछ हमारे जो दर्शक हैं उन्होंने अपने निजी सवाल भेजे हैं जो अभी मैं आपसे पूछने वाला हूं। तान्या मक्कर का सवाल है, माय डॉटर इज 3 years old and autistic. She doesn't wear a mask. Do I need to get her vaccinated also? She's very young, so I'm confused.
So at the age of 3, we really don't have the data on vaccines yet. Most of the trials have looked at individuals 12 years and above. Maybe eventually we will have data. We will be able to recommend it. But right now, I think the best advice would be to protect your daughter by getting everyone around her vaccinated so that she gets indirect protection from those around her.
Yasmin Khan ka sawal hai, all this info is good, but can one take a vaccine which is not FDA approved?
So it depends on why the FDA approval isn't in place. So if the vaccine has not been approved because the data is not published yet, for example, it doesn't necessarily mean that the vaccine is bad or the vaccine is not effective. It may be a work in progress. Maybe it will eventually get approval. Not having FDA approvals, of course, might create problems in terms of vaccine passports, in terms of entry into certain countries, but may not necessarily be tied to efficacy always. So you need to ask that question, why is the vaccine not FDA approved?
Okay. Moving on to the next question. So this one is related to vaccine again. This is Adam who's asking, vaccine reduces the risk. So now we are back to square one. I think what he's trying to say is that vaccine actually leads to reduction in the risk. So are we all good now? Or should we be?
So we are not good yet. We are not good yet because vaccines are not 100% efficacious, number one. So they're about 70%, which means that a significant proportion of individuals will get infected despite receiving the vaccinations. They will not have moderate to severe disease, hopefully. Most of them will not die, thankfully. But they still can get infected and transmit it to other more vulnerable people in society. So unless and until we reach a point where a majority of individuals in society are vaccinated and transmission therefore cuts down to a really low level, I don't think we're back to what it used to be yet.
Okay, Himanshi ka sawal hai, what are the possibilities of emergence of third wave?
The third wave is almost certain to happen. It's happened in most countries across the world. What we need to do our best against is the magnitude of the third wave. How big does it end up being? And how many individuals have severe disease? How many individuals end up being hospitalized? And I think the best way to control those variables are to get people vaccinated as soon as possible. If people are vaccinated and get infected, they are less likely to have severe disease. So even if a lot of individuals get infected in the third wave, most of them will have a mild disease, will not burden the healthcare system, we will not have a bed shortage, we will not have oxygen issues, we will not face some of the challenges that we faced in the second wave.
Okay. Puneet ka sawal hai, is black fungus specifically related to Delta variant?
So there is a hypothesis that it may be related to it based on the fact that we didn't see so many cases of the black fungus last year as compared to this year. However, to the best of my knowledge, this is not proven. This is hypothetical. This is what people connecting the dots have said, that the fact that we've seen a lot more this year compared to the last year might be related to the fact that it was a different strain of the virus this year.
Okay, Munmun ka sawal, ye aakhri sawal hai. I just had an allergic reaction to the COVID vaccine. I was wondering if the lip swelling has been documented in India.
So allergic reactions do occur post-vaccine, and lip swelling would be what we call an immediate allergic reaction. If it leads to shortness of breath, for example, it's not something that we take lightly. So if the person is feeling some sort of a choking sensation, they should seek help immediately because potentially those things can lead to bad outcomes. But a few allergic manifestations have been described. Most of them get better with simple antihistamines.
Okay. Thank you so very much for answering all these questions. Any closing remarks from you?
So I think it cannot be emphasized enough that vaccination is extremely important. And as of now, despite some variants being reported, we have no reason to panic as long as we are vaccinated. It does suggest that vaccinations still protect us from severe disease. And I think that's extremely important to remember.
Thank you so very much. इसी के साथ ये वीडियो होती है खत्म। देखते रहिए NDTV और बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया। मेरा नाम है अरुण सिंह। It's a goodbye from my side.